Supplies! So this video is going to cover some supply things that we've picked up here recently. These are not kits or decals or PE, some stuff for around the bench. Now, you may notice the bench is it's dirty. It's got crumbs all over it, and I am not one to eat at my bench. But I did make an exception because I wanted to sort of show the effectiveness of one of the things I picked up. I grabbed this little doohickey bobber here off of Amazon. This is a little teeny weeny little bench vacuum. It's for the keyboards and stuff like that. If I remember when I'm redoing this in editing, I will put a link in the description to the Amazon for this. As far as this little thing goes, it's like $6, so it's teeny tiny. As far as you see, I don't have the world's biggest hands. I'm not a small hand guy, but I'm not the world's biggest hand guy. Can't palm a basketball or nothing. But this is about 3 inches square, give or take, and about 2 inches tall. And it's relatively quiet as far as the noise factor goes. And you would think something like this is really kind of goofy, but I'll be danged if it doesn't actually do exactly what it says it does as far as being a vacuum cleaner. So this is incredibly handy for the bench. Usually I take the crap on my bench as far as like sanding and cut off little pieces of styrene, the little curly cues you get from cutting things off with parts runners and stuff like that. And just go ahead and sweep them onto the floor and then sweep the floor later. But this sort of solves that problem. And for $7, it's a goofy little $7. But this really comes in handy. Having it nearby, you can just, pop it on whenever you need to and just sort of suck up little bits of flurm, as it were, off your bench and keep it clean. And you also clean your keyboard with it. My computer's over here off to the side. Keep that all spiffy as well. The brushes are kind of stiff at first. I'm sure using it will probably soften them up a little bit because it sort of leaves a little pattern in my rubber mat. But whatever. This was trash that was literally being thrown out that I picked up at a warehouse up in New Hampshire. Good God, it must be 10, 15 years ago now. And this one's actually been nailed down in position on this bench now. Since the bench was oriented the other direction, facing the other side of the room, and that's got to be 10 years as well. So I put this on here right after I got it, and it's still, it's stained up and stuff like that, but it's still, as far as, I haven't managed to cut through it with a knife or anything like that, so I'm not really too worried about leaving brush patterns in the top of it, as it were. But anyway, like I said, this is a neat little cheapo thing. I think this little clear piece might pop off of here, so you can put your channel logo underneath there and have it be your branded vacuum cleaner or whatever. But at any rate, neat little object, the art there. From the folks over at New Type, which is a California-based, mostly Gundam vendor, but they do offer quite a bit of tools from Asia. I got these micro scribers. They're calling them tungsten steel push brooches, and these go into, if you are a longtime fan of this channel, you remember back in 2021 when New Type and Display had got together to do a Chinese New Year package that included, where'd it go here? The anvil, single blade anvil cutters, and it also came with this handle. This handle is what these brooch pins fit into. It's just a chucked handle on the end, and then there's a magnetic sort of cavity down here where you could take and stick a spare one. So you kind of always have two on board, and then the other ones just sort of hang out. This is not in directly order because I'm sure they're not in order, but I got a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 5 millimeter tip to these, and they are kind of pricey. They're about $12 a tip, but being tungsten steel, they should last for quite a while. This, like I said, came separately with the thing, so we'll take that off there. And then, like I said, I had the handle. I've seen Tom over at Scale Modeling Channel has been using the Tamiya version of this. Now, the Tamiya's chuck, as far as the diameter of the bit, is smaller than this one. And I didn't really feel like going out and buying a whole new handle and the scriber blades for it when I already had the handle. The handle sort of came free The deal on this for, again, 2021 Chinese New Year's, or Lunar New Year's, was such that this handle is basically free. Basically, you paid for the side cutters and you got the handle for free. So I said, new type, always get a sticker with them. That's always cool. That'll go into the spray booth when we get around to it. And yeah, these are just, you just chuck them in here, and then like with sort of like a pencil, you just draw down your lines when you're scribing panel lines. You could theoretically cut open doors and stuff like that. With them being small, tiny blade widths, you're not, if you wanted to open a panel, trunk, doors, whatever, you're not going to make a huge, colossal mess out of everything in the process, which, you can do if you get a hobby knife out where you're just sort of hacking at it and you end up making your door skinnier than the opening when you're done with it. This will let you just sort of carve the exact panel lines. The 1mm seems to be about what a Hasegawa kit is with the real fine panel lines that they run. So looking forward to employing these on a build that I'm actually halfway through cleaning up. I got these. We're going to go back and rescribe some panel lines and scribe out the rest of them and go from there. And we'll let you know how well they work, I guess, more or less when that's done. Next up from Burbank House of Hobbies, we got a little bit of Mr. Color Super Metallic Gold 2. This is going to be for an AMG build in the future. Hobbycat is thrilled. And yeah, that's just, like I said, it's a car that needs a gold paint job, part of a two-tone, part of the livery package, but it's not a gold leaf. It's a very fine gold metallic, almost a foil kind of color, so this should be good for that. And then I got 2 bottles of the Mr. Color GX2, which is what they call Uno Black, or Uno Black, depending on how you pronounce that. It is a gloss black. This is the gloss black of choice for all my snobby IPMS friends to base coat their metallics in, as far as you're trying to do a polished chrome or polished stainless steel or polished aluminum or whatever, something that needs that black base underneath of it to make the color reflective. This seems to be what everybody recommends. It stinks because it's lacquer, and usually when lacquer paint stinks, it means it's actually going to do you a good job. So looking forward to getting use on this in the near future, as I do have some exhaust systems that I want to paint up as soon as I find the bench, after I do a bunch of different upload videos for stuff that I've gotten here. So this will just be the first in a couple of series of videos. But anyway, got those. And then from Spray Gunner, they didn't actually have these in stock at Spray Gunner. I got another bottle of this Mr. Color 25, this dark sea gray. It is the base interior color for several of the BMW 2002 rally cars, along with a bunch of other uses for this, being a sort of a light, kind of greenish tinted gray. I showed a picture of this to BG as far as what it looks like when it's on the model, and he thought it was green. It's actually dark gray, or what they consider, what the British, because this is an RAF aircraft color, what the British consider to be a dark gray anyway, but it does have a little bit of a greenish tint to it. And the bottle I got, I had to thin like crazy to get it go through my airbrush. Picked up a new one thinking maybe the old bottle was bad, but this one seems just as thick. May just be a color that needs to be thinned down quite a bit in order to get it to run through. It's a semi-gloss. Mine dried pretty much matte rather than a semi-gloss, but be that as it may, we'll look at that model that I'm gesticulating to this off camera in another video. And then lastly, I picked up a bottle of Mr. Color Rapid Thinner. Rapid Thinner versus the Mr. Color Leveling Thinner. This is just pretty much just lacquer thinner. It's overpriced lacquer thinner, let's just be honest. But I'm a brand loyal tool whore when it comes to stuff like this, so yeah. You use this with flats, with metallics, to have them settle out faster. It keeps especially metallics, keeps the particles from spreading around, as the leveling thinner has that retarder in it to make the paint dry smooth and with a gloss. So a lot of times when you put leveling thinner into a flat or a metallic, you'll get a shinier finish than you might expect out of that type of paint. This will solve that problem by removing the retarder agent. Could I have just used hardware store lacquer thinner? Sure, but this is a nice little bottle. I have a giant 5-gallon jug of hardware store lacquer thinner, but this is a much more convenient receptacle, as it were, for just use on the bench. It's kind of hard to keep a 5-gallon can around when you're working in your modeling area. And yeah, so looking forward to, again, trying this out and seeing. I've seen a bunch of comparisons of it. Is it really, really, truly noticeable. Maybe not unless you're being completely, totally retentive about it. But yeah, well, no one's ever accused me of being freewheeling. So there is this in terms of sort of paint supplies. And then lastly, a few just sort of odds and ends supplies. Off Amazon, 100 jumbo spatulas, as they're calling these, or tongue depressors, let's be honest. I don't have any. I don't know how I don't have any, but a lot of people will take these and wrap Tamiya tape around them, or just masking tape and stick stuff to them, white tack and stick stuff to them. Technically, you use white glue and stick stuff to them. In terms of painting, using these to paint with, I have a bunch of skewers, bamboo skewers, that I use for. You see me use them as pointers on here, and I put alligator clips on the end of them to use them as alligator clips, but sometimes you just need to stick stuff to a surface in terms of like PE vents and things like that, and for some reason, I don't have any of these, so for like $4, I have what basically probably amounts to a lifetime supply of these, because really you don't need to throw one out every time you use it. You can, use these probably until they snap in half and break, but anyway, grabbed a bunch of those. Also, from Amazon, I grabbed these. These are the micro applicators. You see them sold in Hobby Lobby and stuff like that. This happen to be white, but if you ever looked at the Hobby Lobby ones, if I could find them, let's see here. There we go. This is an old Hobby Lobby price tag. I mean, this is ancient history Hobby Lobby, but this is the same thing. A micro brush applicator. You get 10 of them for $1.99, or 10 of them for $2, right? They're 20 cents a piece. Well, this was 400 of them in several different size brush tips. Each one of these is like a different size. And it was $6 for 400 of them. I consider this to be a much more reasonable value as far as, buying something in bulk, because these you pretty much do throw out as far as, using them once and pitching. You can cut the ends of them off and use them as little tiny parts holders as well. You can always recycle these in that way. But as far as using this, as far as this paint tip goes, it's pretty much you're using once and they go away. This one I have on the bench because I use it to put on some micro set on some teeny tiny decals, and a paintbrush that I normally use for my micro set was too big. It was moving stuff around, so this ended up working out for that. And since it's only got decal softener on it, I'll keep this one around for that use in the future. But anyway, a whole bunch of these. And then lastly, as far as the supplies go, I believe, because we'll go into different stuff in a different video, I got these 3 reels of 2mm wide ribbon in black, in blue, and red. These are going to pretty much be every single color you're going to need for a racing seat, as far as making a 5-point racing harness or a 4-point racing harness. We want to go into a past older style seat. I am going to rebuy these in 3mm as well, because it seems to be, depending on what size hardware a kit comes with, it depends on which size ribbon you would need. The ribbon, for example, in the new stuff, the BMAX stuff, this is a 3mm ribbon. But if you get out the instructions to a Hasegawa kit, let me grab one real quick, that comes with the PE stuff inside of it. In this case, it'll be a rally kit that I'll show you in more detail later. You do get like this weird, let me see if I can find it in here, because there's material in here that you use for seatbelts, and then there's material you use in here for you're making your mud flaps. But anyway, you get this weird material that is not really showing up in here right now. Anyway, but it's red, and it's about this thick, and there's 2 pieces of it behind this bigger rubber piece now. At any rate, you're supposed to cut that up and cut it into width and length to make the seat belts. I'll pop the instructions open here for you. So here's, you get all this MA or metal pieces. So there's a PE harness pieces, right, to make all your 5-point harnesses out. And you're supposed to take this material that comes in these 210 by 20mm strips, and then cut it into 2 25s, 2 55s, and 2 100s. And then, your 25s come down here and make your lower part of the buckles, the 50s make the side pieces, and then the 100s make the rear pieces. And just realizing that this only shows you how to make one seat, but in actuality, you need to make, 2 seats. So you need to do this twice, which is probably why there's 2 sets of them. But at any rate, because obviously there are two seats and two, showing you 2 things of PE in there. But at any rate, the material that they give you in these is like almost like balloon rubber. It's goofy. It's a combination of balloon rubber and roofing tar. But then you have to cut it to width too. So these need to be 2 millimeter because these PE buckles in here are very narrow, and I don't think a 3 millimeter piece is going to fit. Whereas the belt buckles in the, trying to see if I can do this side by side, not have the camera go all crazy. The belts in the new set are a millimeter wider, so you kind of need to have 2 sets. Now there is, like I said, there's belt material in here, but I've always been concerned that it's not enough. Like if you goof this up and you cut this to the wrong length and you run out and you can't make the rest of the seatbelt, you're up a creek without a paddle. These things are $4 a roll, or yeah, $4 a roll, and they're 100 yards. There's 100 yards of ribbon here. That is a lifetime supply, clearly. So, for like $18, I have enough ribbon. I have enough seatbelt material to last a lifetime. Usually, you have to spend 2 months of your salary to have something that lasts a lifetime. So I figured that was a pretty reasonably good deal. All said and done, and that guys is going to be it for this video. We'll come back in another video and we'll look at some decals that have come in, some aftermarket that's come in. I got a bunch of resin stuff. And then we'll do another video with model kits that have come in. And hopefully we'll catch you guys all the way up since basically the end of last year. I've done some of these videos here and there, but I really haven't sat down and really caught up. And I need to put stuff away. I've hemmed and hawed about whether I want to do these videos or not, and whatever. And in the process, like I said, I've got stuff everywhere. And this sort of closing in on me as I try to actually work on models for the summer and the fall. So that, like I said, we'll wrap this one up and we'll see you guys on the other side.